Hey y'all, welcome to Thank You for Your Obedience with your girl Sam. I am. Today is a very honest episode. I literally had to take a nap, wake up, rejuvenate myself to be able to really talk about this. I almost chickened out, so that's why I'm just like, Sam, you better show up. You've been You've been prompting the people, so now you just got to show up, even if it's in fear. So, today is a very vulnerable episode. I don't think it's gonna be no tears, cause I think cause I've already processed everything and kind of really got through a lot of things before being able to really come speak about it. Um, but yeah, this one is tough, and this one is crazy because I had to go back and forth with myself up until the day of about this title and how I was gonna present it, um, because even though what I was gonna say was very factual, it felt very emotional. So I was just like, you know what, we're not gonna let our emotions just drive the boat. Okay, we're not gonna let our emotions drive the boat. We're gonna really continue to be intentional about everything we do. So if it takes me dialing back something that I initially wanted to come out with, because it originally felt like clickbait, and so it's just like, nah, we ain't trying to do that. So we just gonna keep it simple and keep it cute. Um, Not only is this a big day for me, it's Memorial Day weekend. And before, I've talked about how I've had issues with holidays and the bad stigma that's been on them for me, and how in this last season, God has kind of redeemed my holidays for me, um, and put a better meaning to them. And even Memorial Day is literally, fortunately, unfortunately, a very staple event in my life. And that is, it is literally to the day, 1 year, 365 days since my relationship ended. Um, so that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about 365 days of healing. Now, this ain't no tea session. This ain't like, oh, we get to finally figure out what happened. Nah, it ain't even gonna go down like that. I think I can finally put a lot of context to the why. It has been a journey for me. What I actually did throughout this journey to actually heal. You know what I'm saying? Healing and mental health and mind renewal and trying to be a better person, those are all buzzwords until you actually do them, right? So you actually go through the process of not trying to heal your heart, your mind, but really doing the work to heal your soul. And a lot of people don't know what that looks like. And a lot of people don't know the different things encountered during that time. So, I think I'm going to keep it short and sweet by letting everybody know why, let them know the things I've encountered, and letting everybody know where I'm at right now, right? Um, so just a bit of context, if nobody knew, for those who are new, who just didn't know. Um, my former partner, and I'm very intentional about saying words like my former partner, because I don't necessarily feel like he was an ex, because he definitely played a part in the growth and acceleration of my life, um, in so many ways. So I'm not I can't consciously say, like, oh, my ex. And I could be sounding super green, or I, could be trying to unwind some trauma and manipulation. But where I'm at right now, he is considered my former partner. I had known my former partner since I was 7 years old. We grew up in church together. He's a couple years older. So we never actively pursued each other growing up. We would exchange like eye contact, hug each other every now and then. Um, I knew he would be a superstar, so I actively would encourage him in those spaces. But because there was an age gap, and we didn't find out, because when you grow up in church for a long time, like um, the youth be with the like preteens until the preteens become like young adults, and then it's split. So it wasn't around until like the young adults. I was like, oh, like we're different. Like I said, never pursued each other, none of that. It was just always a vibe. And 13 years later, um, I was working with artists and just trying to like motivate them and trying to kind of steer them on their options. And there was one person I knew that was Grammy nominated, and I could be like, oh, I know this person, and that was my former partner. So I reached out, um, and throughout time, like of very minimal communication, like day one turned into 3.5 years later. And so to find the person like you've always had a crush on growing up, have the same um, kind of mutual feelings that you have, like after so long, it was 13 years since we had seen each other or whatever. Only had been Facebook friends, but even then wouldn't communicate. You know what I'm saying? Just always stayed in touch. A happy birthday here and there, but nothing like that. So 13 years pass and y'all reconnect, and it's just like, oh, like that look was a look, like that, eye contact. That vibe was a whole vibe. Like it wasn't just me like crushing, on somebody. It was like a mutual feeling, and so that's why it ignited so fast. Like it went so fast. It went so fast. But it wasn't like nothing I didn't want. It was a conversation had. And in that time also was when I got kicked out. So having to go through that, with somebody that even though you've known for years, like we had just got together. And so, without hesitation, he was just like, I got you. You know what I'm saying? So he was there through the bulk of that whole transition, and I was there for him while he was going through transition. And we did that for a long time. That wasn't perfect, but for us, or at least for myself, because I don't want to speak for nobody else, God was always at the center, right? Like I said, we grew up in church together. So when we got together and we didn't have like much, it didn't matter to us. You know what I'm saying? Like we had God, and God was our foundation, and like we built upon that because like um, people see my walk of faith now. But prior to that relationship, like I knew God, but I had no connection, was not tapped in how I was supposed to, until I met him, and he got plugged into places, and um, and he wasn't just actively, walking as well. So we kind of did that walk together. You know what I'm saying? For many places, um, I really see how like them church musicians and them church singers, like how they work, like it's a whole situation. And but I was also actively tapped in, like I was legit because I had no choice, you know. Um, but it was all, all in God's timing or whatever. And so we did that, had our ups and downs, and at the end of 21, I just started being like more vocal in a sense. I just started feeling like a disconnection in a sense. And instead of being the person I used to be, which just be like observing things and giving people the opportunity to tell the truth, um, I had started being like more vocal about things that were just different. Not bitchy in a sense, but just more vocal. And I had been actively doing that our relationship, like because I didn't want to come off like bitchy or nagging, you know what I'm saying? So I would be so graceful and communicating things that I was seeing, I was feeling, I was dealing with, you know what I'm saying? And it was some deflection or like false, I don't know, like it wasn't all the way truthful, but it was just trying to keep me there. But I didn't understand because the person wasn't like mentally, physically there. I guess we were just there emotionally. Top of January or end of December, like after Christmas, I literally went into straight up surrender. Like, God, it is what it is. Like, I don't know what, I had no proof, y'all. Like, I had no proof of what was going on. Um, and so I was just like, God, it is what it is. Like, I was also in love. Like, so it wasn't like I wanted it to be over. Like that wasn't it. Like, this was the man that I'm not gonna say I prayed for, but when I would see him like come across my feed or if he would send a comment, woo woo woo, I would be like, God, whenever I meet that man, that's gonna be my man. Like, period. And sure enough was. And so, to always have a thing like that spark, like to always have an eye on each other, to always have a vibe after so long, and it's just like you actually get, for lack of a better word, you should be praying for her. Like, you're gonna continue to work for what God gave you, you know what I'm saying? Not at the cost of, your own mental, health or whatever. But I felt like I had fought, and not even fought, I had tolerated and been a part of all these other situations that were literally just that, like a situation. Um, to not put a little elbow grease and do all that I can to savor my relationship because I love that man. Like, there was no doubt about that. And everybody could tell you, like, our love was seen outside of us, right? Like, it wasn't always like us doing the most or just us trying to be just outwardly, like, us just being merely around each other. Like, it created like this big ball of love that we didn't even have to walk in with each other and people knew we were with each other. I still think that is strange, but it just was what it was, you know. And this was at this time after I gave it up to God. Whatever I did, kind of know, I was like, "Hey, this what you doing, right?" And it was still like, "No, that's not it. I just need to get myself together," which was the facts. Like, he was actively still in transition in life. Um, and like I said, I didn't have proof. I was just like, God, you got it. Like I stopped. I was never like that crazy girlfriend. I've done like excessive things for my man, but nothing like some shit you see on for my man. Like, not that. It was just like I put a lot more effort in this relationship because it was actually like the first relationship I was in. You know what I'm saying? So, all the time, all the effort, all the seeds, you know what I'm saying? And I was planted. It was just like, ain't nobody else gonna reap my harvest. Like, you know? But even over time, I just let that grass go and really gave it to God so He can do whatever He needs to do with it. And it was up and down, you know. There was definitely, you know, work involved. There was consistency. There was a lot of transparency and vulnerability towards the end, like to the point like it was just word vomit, you know, from both of us, you know, kind of speaking, I guess literally trying to put both of our hearts out there, you know, one last time, you know. I didn't know it was coming to an end, you know, definitely, I don't know the conversation he had with God, um, but just getting to the end, right? After the end could have ended 6 months prior, so when it ended, but apparently it had to end Memorial Weekend, Memorial Day, just like Memorial Day as a national holiday, paying respects to the dead. God said, we just gonna pay respect to this dead relationship. And I'm like, okay, God, you petty, but it is what it is. And I remember getting that call, and in so many words, it was just like, I need time. Uh, I'm not doing right by you. God not blessing me. You know, I don't have a plan, and I've seen you execute your plan so effortlessly from being homeless and, you know, overcoming all that. Um, it was just like, I just need time and space. And because I think I feel I had already had that emotional moment with God of kind of already knowing what was going on, I took it better than probably a normal person would have. I did cry, you know, more so as a response to his tears. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if they were genuine per se. I don't know if um, they were prompts. Like, I have no idea because I'm not that person. But I handled it a lot better because I already knew. Like, I already knew down to the person. I already knew, like, and I had told him that, and his literal words were like, I was like, why didn't you just tell me? And he was like, I was terrified because I didn't know how you knew. I didn't know how I knew either, sir. God, God be guiding, literally. Um, so I went through that whole process, you know, still trying to, not necessarily be friendly, but it was always kind of agreed upon, like, I don't want to lose my friend, you know? And that was from, you know, his kind of standpoint, but I guess that's friend zoning and trying to have somebody in the pocket. Like, I don't know. And I don't try to, like, if anybody know me, I'm not for the games. So it's just like, you want to be cool, cool. Like, I don't hate you. I can never hate you. Like, we went through a very tough life together. So it's just like, I can't just act like you ain't shit. Like, I can't act like that. Like, I'm not finna just, nope, not finna do that. So all I heard, and I don't think I've ever shared this with anybody, all I heard, you know, through the bulk of it, being a sweet person I am, being the true friend that I am, being the helper that I am. Besides, you know, what was the truth, I heard, I don't have a plan. I don't have a plan. I don't have a plan. So in the midst of all that, I heard my friend does not have a plan, right? And so I went through the whole motions, crying, letting certain people know, because I didn't let no people know until like further down the line. Um, It was Memorial Weekend. I was actually off on Memorial Day, which was never a thing when it came to holidays. So me and Sarah, I got turned. I was definitely lit. Like, drink my pain away for sure, for sure. Tequila was my friend that day. I'm not gonna hold you. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I was like bottoms up because I know this real, but this can't be real. Like, right? Like I said, because when people did start finding out, it was just like, damn, I thought y'all was getting married. Damn, I thought y'all was on y'all way to having the kids. Like, damn. And I'm just like, I'm getting the responses like, damn, Sam, if it ain't you, then how we gon' all like find somebody decent and whole? You know what I'm saying? If you can't even find somebody decent, and I'm just like, that's a lot of weight on a person to uh damn near feel like I'm the martyr of like a healthy family. Like, nah, I'm trying, y'all, but it still ain't here. We still prayerfully walking, okay? Um, did all that. So like even in that space of literally being heartbroken, I still had the capacity to try to be a friend to somebody, right? So when I heard I didn't have a plan, I found this recently cleaning. I had wrote down like a whole plan. Like, and not even a plan like you need to do this, you need to save this, you need to do that. Nah. I literally had wrote down a plan of scriptures that helped me navigate, the space I was in. And as far as like continue to pull myself out, when I wasn't in the best place mentally, physically, emotionally, financially, like I had this roadmap that literally kind of helped me. Um, it says scripture for healing, write the plan. Habakkuk 2 and 2, write the vision, make it plain. Listen to the plan. You know what I'm saying? This is just my little notes. You have to listen to the plan. You have to, receive the plan from God. Like literally download it and write it out to see if it's if you can execute it or to be able to start executing it. And that was the next one. It's Genesis 12, 1 through 3, where it says, telling Abraham, like, leave your home, your country, your kinsmen to a land that I would show you. Um, that was the kind of place that he in. It was just like you need to get away from, your family. You need to get out, you know? I ain't trying to put his business out there. John 5 and 8, stand up, pick up your mat and walk. Like, get up, pick your baggage up, pick whatever you're carrying up and just walk it out. Give that to God and just walk it out. Um, 1 Corinthians 10 and 13 talks about a way out. I don't know what Psalm 73 and 26 is off the top of my head, but it clearly was important enough for me to write it. James 5 and 16, confess your sins to one another that you may be healed. I actually learned that from a sermon that he sent me um, by Tim Ross that was in the series of I can't think of the name of the series, but I think the name of the episode was like Confession is Golden, in that space. It's about mental health. And then Philippians 4 and 7, and it talks about the peace of God. Like literally, like I'm not making like this is something scrap. Like literally wrote it all down and was just like maybe not that day, maybe not the next day, maybe not the next week, but it was just like eventually when all the smoke settled, like I'm going to help my friend out. Stupid. Just in love. Stupid. Um, and I think God had seen that. And shout out to Bria for giving me the new perspective of not feeling like attacked, but more so just going through spiritual conditioning. Because I got like uppercutted like 2 days later after the breakup. Like, I got one of them like Barbara, this is Shirley calls. But I wasn't Barbara Nurse Shirley because he had already broke up with me, so I didn't understand like what was going on. And that was literally like God letting me know, like when I say stay away from this person, I mean stay away until I say so. Like don't be trying to be cordial right now. Like when I say let it go, let it go. And from that moment, okay, God made sure that the tie was severed until he said so, right? So I went through that embarrassment. Um, I went through that and literally was just on an active like run for healing. Like I actively did everything I could in my power to heal and continue to have God at the center. Because that's the thing. A lot of times we try to take our own healing into our own hands, but it's just like, give that to God. But in the mix of me, like, really balancing out what was going on, I was on a run. I was on a run. I was on a run, like running so fast, like until the only thing that literally hit me that like slowed me down was way in November was We Church. Like there was the Triangle Tour. I legit woke up one day and about 3 weeks out planned a 4 day trip to drive around Houston. Drive around Texas, excuse me, by myself. Houston, San Antonio, stayed in a cabin in Austin, went to my dad's house in Dallas and drove back to Houston. Like just to low key make myself feel better, stayed in like a 4 or 5 star hotel on the border by myself. I mean on the boardwalk by myself. Went to Six Flags by myself. Went to um, Kurt Franklin Maverick City tour by myself. Stayed in a cabin and went to like a natural lake by myself. Went to Austin, ate lunch by myself. Like literally just had to get away. Everybody wanted my location, and I was like, nope. Like I have to go. Literally went on a sprint for healing. You know what I'm saying? Didn't want to sit in it, but literally went away to sit in it, to cry in it, to literally feel like every single emotion because people think like it's just like, oh, she went on a run after a breakup. Like, nah. Like it was the conversations y'all didn't know about. It was the things I was already actively recovering from that y'all didn't, well, y'all kind of know about now, but that y'all don't know about. Like, it was literally dealing with like some real abandonment issues, like really dealing with that Job season of like everything being taken away from you, like every single thing, like just being taken away from you, and you're just like I can imagine Job being like, did I not pray today? Like, what? Like, did I miss my, moment with God? Like, why am I going through this? But, like it said, God didn't give Job an explanation. He just gave him double. So, I never really fought it, right? Like, I never fought him about it. It's just like, you can't make nobody do nothing that they don't want to do. And so, I went on a run. Like, I went on a run, and in times was still going through some spiritual conditioning because people was really trying me. Like, people was trying me. I'll leave it at that. So where it'd be like space and time would go by, and some people were still bothered, and I'm just like, leave me alone, you know. Went on that whole journey, just to spark the healing, spark the conversation, finally started talking to people. Um, then a month later, Like 2 months later, month and a half later, my dog dies. Like, she just dies in my backseat 10 minutes before my dad's house. Had a clean bill of health maybe a couple weeks before. Like, she just went. And what people don't know, and I may have talked about it before, like, that week spiritually was very heavy for me. Like, I probably only talked like one or two people that's like, I don't know, that week I felt like I just heard his spirit like really talking to me, like really trying to get a hold of me very loudly. I would hear his voice in my sleep, like it was waking me up out of my sleep. And I would just remember like why am I hearing this? Like why am I going through this? You know what I'm saying? And that's what my friend told me, the concept of like mind, body, spirit, and sometimes we're not always connected. So she kind of gave the theory that his spirit was calling for me. Shout out to Mario, I can hear your heart calling for me. And I was just like, I can't talk to him, telling my friend, like, I can't talk to him. I can't talk to him. Like, I did my part. Like, if you can't reach out, like, I can't do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've done so much in this whole thing. Like, I can't do it. And my friend was like, you're absolutely right. God listening this whole time because he's like, you can't do what? Oh, I'm going to show you. Literally, my car got flooded on the Thursday. I probably talked to my friend Friday morning about that. Went to Tiana Taylor concert Friday evening. Saturday morning, my dog was acting weird. We're on our way to Dallas 10 minutes later. Like 10 minutes before I get to my destination, my dog dies. And literally, no lie, he was the first person I called. Not only because it was like our dog, but it was just like at that moment, like I didn't know anybody who fully understood what I was going through in that moment. Like, yeah, there was people who lost pets, my dad who's lost pets, things like that. But to know what this particular, companion meant to me, there was only one person I knew. And God was like, okay, at least you wasn't disobedient, you know, even though you said you still did, you know. We spoke for a hot second, and literally from that point to this point, we have not spoken. I don't know why he don't speak to me. I'm not necessarily looking for like conversation, but it's just like you also feel like when you go through so much life with somebody, and it didn't ultimately like end on just terrible terms, any terms less than what I deserve, which is the best. Um, it's terrible, but it's just like with life going on, and how I am so graceful. You know, um, I didn't think the silence was a thing. I understand respecting the person you're with and yada yada yada, but it's just like I don't know. I just felt like it was deeper than just I messed up amount. But I think because it was so deep that it had to be this way. You know what I'm saying? Because no lie, like the small conversation with about Mercy passing, it was still like it was still airy, like it was still like no time had passed, and it was I think it's just so easy for us to like get back to where we was, and God was like, no. I don't know what's his situation, but God was like, mm-mm. Like we don't hate him, but mm-mm. But even people don't know, like within that, like I dealt with that moment of like feeling his spirit calling for me, and then my dog dying the same week, if not, the same couple of days. I remember having to go to a field day with some friends, and a song that I had never heard before, and I only heard it through him. They ended up playing it, and it was like one of the last songs that he had sung to me. And I was just like, Like, why all this song? Like, oh, why all of a sudden, like, this song want to be on replay right now? Like, why? Like, what is this? Um, then I have even up until now, like, up until like this week, y'all, I have had like what I call exposure therapy. Like, God has like actually been putting me in places and spaces that I had not been in over a year. You know what I'm saying? Or within the year, I had not been like to a certain side of town. And like the last couple of events, I had to go on that side of town. Even with going through, my situation with um, my health issues and having to relive that same issue kind of over again, to when I was sick and my sister is picking out drinks for me. It was a drink that like only he would buy. So I was just like, what's going on? Like, to the song he used to sing growing up, in church together is now a viral song. And I'm like, who made that song viral? Like, who made that song viral? Like, what in the actual hell is going on? I'm watching one of my favorite shows, favorite shows. And there's a moment in the show where they're discussing something and it almost becomes like this monologue moment for like this guy just have this open conversation like to the group. So it's not like a group of people just talking amongst each other, like they're all listening to him. And he was literally like saying things about a certain type of dog and having social anxiety, and it was the same name as my former partner. The guy that was talking had like the guy's birth, like his dad's name, and I'm just like, it mentioned like the breed of dogs that we used to breed. So I'm like, God, like, what's going on? Like, what are you doing? Like, why are you making me like in so many ways like relive this moment? like, what's going on? Um, I say all that to say like healing is wild, but you gotta go through it. I literally just spent this time getting to know me more, loving on me, taking that same energy that I was putting in other people and like literally putting into myself. Um, letting God, you know, um, give me everything that the locust took from me. You know what I'm saying? Like, literally, like I said, God never told Job um, why. He just gave him double. Now, do I think Job went to heaven and had a conversation with God? Yes. Okay. But, when you really notice life ain't yours and you really on some like real surrender, real obedience, and just letting God like do the rest, like it might not seem logical, but that's faith. You know what I'm saying? Like when I say like I sprinted so far, I went to every concert. I stayed so busy. Like I just did everything for the most part that made me happy. And it wasn't like the things I was doing was bad. It was just I was just running. And it took me finding community for me to like slow down. I was still active, but I feel like now I'm active more in purpose, and I'm also being steered properly, um, and I'm nurturing my gifts, and I can be more outward, and I can still be me. Like, um, the glow is glowing. I'm like, this whole season pushed me to be here with y'all. So it's just like everything happened for a reason. Am I still mind boggled by the whole thing? Yeah, cause I was in love. Like I tell people all the time, like Adam and Eve didn't have a wedding. They had a covenant with God. So it was just like it was just me, him, and God, and I was like, okay, I was cool with that. You know what I'm saying? Like I was cool with that. If it was good enough for Adam and Eve, it was good enough for me. Like, and that's just how it was. That's why it'd be so funny when people like I ain't doing wifey stuff. Hey, I'm a wife, so I can only act in my functionality. You know what I'm saying? That might not be for you, but that's just how I'm designed. So, I don't give people like all of me, but if doing certain wifely things, comes about, then it just is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I went through like a whole spiritual divorce, y'all. Um, but like I said, it wasn't just like that relationship. It was like the whole abandonment. It was losing everything. But what Fantasia say? That song just came to me. I ain't gonna lie. You gotta lose to win again. You know what I'm saying? And I just think I went through a whole purification season, being in the fire, to now being on a real level playing field and really just growing and being in a good place to just take off from here. Like everything, even though it sucked, everything is sucked, from losing jobs, from people backstabbing me, from having to regain relationships, you know what I'm saying, to like basically continue to trust, you know what I'm saying? Um, Not continue to only trust people, but to low key continue to trust God, to know it's gonna all work out. It's a whole process. But I've been doing it. I've been doing it. Yeah. And that's why, like, because I've been doing all this work, because it's work, y'all. Um, I couldn't backtrack on my pettiness. Because as sweet as I am, I'm still petty. And when you're in the know of certain things, and I'm in the know of certain things, you don't just you don't just show out and act out because you can, right? So, like I said, I kept it cute, just saying like this episode was supposed to be called 1 year single and celibate, um 365 days of healing. But I'm like, that 1 year single and celibate would have been like, she's what? And I'm just like, nah, y'all can catch that at the end of this episode. But that's the reality. Is I spend a lot of time by myself, but at the same time in community. It's not good for men to be alone, and so I know how to manage my alone time, but I've also made it a point to be around people. I've also made it a point to walk with people and to not hide anything really. Like when I'm feeling it. If somebody asks and I'm telling, if it's too heavy for me to carry, I bring it to my community. And I've said it multiple times in a couple of episodes. Like I had to lose this big relationship that felt like it was overshadowing like all the other relationship I had, and that wasn't coming from him or necessarily anybody else. It was just how it was, because when I got in this relationship, it was I got the two stigmas of like, oh, she got a man, like let her be with him, like. And then it was on the flip side of too, like, oh, she got a man, like she deserved this, like let her be with him. And it was just like, I appreciate it, but like, damn, like everybody just trusts me with this person, and cool, but it's just like nobody really just out here trying to, just be there. There was just a lot of distance put in between me and my village, and it wasn't intentional. I don't know. I guess I just felt like how big the love was just like protruding. And so it wasn't until like I think I became more open that I was able to receive a village. Because like I say, how am I get married and have kids and nobody gonna help me? So I think that's what this time is. This time it was just about rebuilding and getting everything I need support wise, so that when that person does come, into my life, I'll be ready. I'll be ready, and even if I fall, like I have like a strong support system. So I don't even have to be that strong no more. You know what I'm saying? And that is wonderful because she be tired. Like, it's tiring carrying the weight of the world. You know what I'm saying? So to not have to do it alone has been pretty damn sweet. So yeah, I know I rambled. I know I'm not as enthused as I thought I was gonna be or as I planned to be, but um, even though I got through it, the fact that I had to get through that is still very disheartening. Um, it's still very emotional for me. Um, I have to still mentally go through things like was I manipulated or was he a really good person? You know, and things just happen. You know, was it real? Like, or was I just in love with myself? Like, I still have to mentally go through all those different hurdles, but I'm doing it. I'm doing it. And a part of it is showing up here even when I don't want to, even when I'm scared to. Because this is scary for me because I don't want it to come off like, oh, I'm romanticizing a breakup. Like, blah, 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 blah. Like, that ain't it. It's just, I've honestly really seen how my transparency is really helping folks. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just trying to continue to show up, do my part, and be obedient. And hopefully, you know, it helps somebody. Because it's blessed me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm blessed to be a blessing. And just hopefully, like, when people say, like, I'm healing, they actually doing it. Right? Because otherwise, it's just a waste of time and energy. And you can't get that back. You can't get that back. So, yeah. Y'all, this is 365 days to the date. And, wow. Yeah, that's all I got. Um, thank you all for tuning in. I didn't cry, y'all. I told y'all I had to get that napkin because if I didn't have that napkin, like, on top of, like, the already heightened emotions, I would have been a mess. I would have been a mess. But, mm-mm. I showed up, y'all. I showed up, y'all. Thank you guys for walking with me. Thank you guys. More content is still coming. I've been consistent. Um, and God is the author and the finisher. So as long as He continues to write this content, we're gonna be here. So I got more guests coming. I got more locations coming. Um, just more is coming. So y'all keep rocking with me. Um, next week will be better because this one was just heavy. You know, I love y'all. Thank y'all.